Norway maple, Acer platanoides, is one of the most commonly planted trees in the northeastern United States. That doesn't mean that it is without problems, because it does have a fairly dense canopy, which makes for a very nice shade, but makes it very difficult to grow anything below it. It also has a very shallow root system, so as a street tree can heave sidewalks, and it doesn't live very long, so it causes many problems in terms of liability issues. In fact, many communities don't even allow this tree to be planted anymore as a street tree. But it doesn't look an awful lot like the sugar maple, our native tree, the state tree of New York State. And so it's worth looking at what some of the common features are to make sure that it can be readily identified. The Norway maple has a very broad leaf, very similar to sugar maple. But when you break the petiole, or the stem that holds the blade of the leaf, there's a very slight milky sap. It reminds me of Elmer's glue, although it's not sticky. And you'll never see that on a sugar maple. You only see this on really two maples that are planted in the northeastern United States, the other being the hedge maple, Acer campestre. Norway maple also has a very distinct samara. All maples have samaras. In fact, there are about 200 maple species in the world, and they all have samaras. But the shape, the size, and how they're arranged makes a real big difference in how they're regarded as species. For example, sugar maple has two samaras arranged like this, about at a 60-degree angle from one another, where Norway maple, the wings are opposite each other. And something else that you may have noticed, you see this milky sap when you break apart the samaras. That's another common feature of Norway maple. And these are dispersed by wind, as all maple seeds are. Another important feature of Norway maple that separates from all other maples is the very distinctive bark, which has an interlacing pattern that really looks more like an ash more than a typical maple. Norway maple, commonly planted, many different varieties, not necessarily the best choice for many landscape settings.